So tell us about the Supernote scandal in North Korea.
Yeah, the North Koreans, who knew? They were the best counterfeiters of $100 bills. They produced incredibly good imitations of real U.S. currency. Not enough to really threaten, not to flood the U.S., but enough to enrich some of the people in the it was then the Kim Jong-il regime. The Treasury was not just the Treasury, but the whole U.S. government was struggling with how do we deal with this country that is causing so many problems for us, posing so many threats, and it was like the soprano state. This was a term that was coined by Sheena Chestnut, a very good political scientist, in a thesis that she wrote. So, we had no trade with North Korea, almost zero, because it had already been isolated, and it had also already had trade sanctions. But the Treasury, based on what they had gotten in terms of powers in the Patriot Act after 9/11, realized that no financial sanctions. They had used to some extent before, particularly in the war on drugs. But let's try to apply that to North Korea. Maybe that's the way we can really hurt them. One of the lines I'm most proud of in the book is where I say they were kind of like little kids, experimenting with a chemistry set, and oh, look at this explosion we can make. And they just went after one bank in Macau, the Portuguese, the sleepy Portuguese colony off. It was then part of the people. By then it was People's Republic of China, but they went after this tiny little bank in Macau. That had some transactions with North Korea and sanctioned it and said, you're a target. You can't do business in the dollar system, and every bank in Asia began cutting off any connection with North Korea. So it was like this great explosion that they had, with their chemistry set, and that really brought home to the Treasury. The potency of this weapon that they had at their disposal, and that was, when they began realizing how they could use it for other adversaries, and Iran was, sort of next, Russia, Venezuela, and these things have been used, more and more and more in the period since then.